Salatu wassalamu ala Rasulullah wa ala alihi wa sahbihi man wala. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. So, welcome to episode 5 of Speaking Arabic. Here we get into another conversation. If you're taking notes, go ahead and pull up the PDF, pause the video, and then write down the 5th and 6th conversation. So, whatever's on page 5, go ahead and write down both of those conversations and leave some space for translation. Okay, Bismillah. So, assuming that you've written this down, let's just go back over. Al-Wahdatu is the unit. Ad-Dars is the lesson. Here we have the number 1. So, Al-Wahdatul Ula, Ad-Darsul Awwal. Right, so this is the first unit and the first lesson. So here we have Al-Hiwarul Khamis. Al-Hiwarul Khamis. So Khamis, following the pattern that we've seen so far, Al-Khamis is the 5th conversation. Okay? So just from just prior knowledge, we know that we've been following the series. We had the Al-Hiwar Al-Awwal and Al-Thani, Al-Thalith, right? So here, just following the series, this naturally is the 5th conversation. So here we have these 3 words again: Undur, Wastami' Wa'id. And now I keep saying these words, I keep repeating the meaning just so it's reinforced in your brain. Undur is look, Wastami' is listen, and Wa'id is repeat. So here we have a conversation that starts off between Ahmad and Badr. Okay, so Ahmad says, Assalamu alaikum. Badr says, Wa alaikum assalam. Ahmad says, Hada akhi huwa mudarris. So, Assalamu alaikum wa alaikum assalam is peace be upon you, peace be upon you. Alright, Ahmad says, Hada akhi huwa mudarris. So, this is new stuff here. So, hada is a word that is a pointer. It's in a category of words called pointers, and hada is basically, it means this. Okay, so hada refers specifically to things that are close to you, right? So, and close means like distance, not like relationships. So here, excuse me. So here, hada akhi. So hada means this. And then we have this next word, akhi. Akhi is brother. So akh is brother, and then if you remember, the ya means my brother. So Ahmad says, Hada akhi. So he's introducing his brother. Huwa mudarris. So huwa is a recognizable word. It's from the pronouns. It means he. And mudarris is kind of new. It's not completely new, but it is kind of new. So, just one thing I'll point out here is in the top corner we had ad-dars, and here we have mudarris. Okay, so you can notice that the sound of these words is very similar, right? And that's because in Arabic we have something called the root word, right? So the root word derives different words. And different words that come from the same root have similar meanings, okay? So ad-dars is the lesson, right? And so the 3 words, or the 3 letters that compose that root are dal, ra, sin. And we see those same 3 letters here in mudarris, right? So these 3 letters, they're the same 3 letters that we find in dars. So if dars is lesson, mudarris is teacher, the one who teaches the lesson. And so another thing here is typically when a word starts with the letter mim, it's someone who does something. So for example, a Muslim is someone who does Islam, right? So a mudarris is someone who does durus, right? Someone who teaches lessons. So this is a teacher, okay? So Badr says, Ahlan wa sahlan. Ahlan wa sahlan, like we mentioned earlier, it's like, it's a pleasure to meet you, nice to meet you, or welcome, or any of those meanings, right? So here it means nice to meet you. So Ahmad then says, هذا صديقي هو مهندس. هذا صديقي هو مهندس. So Ahmad, let's go back a little bit. Ahmad introduced first his brother, okay? And so Badr is saying Ahlan wa sahlan. So now Ahmad is introducing Badr to his brother, okay? I hope that makes sense. Here, in the picture, might make a little bit more sense. He's saying, this is my brother, right? So let's just assume this is his brother and this is his friend, right? So he's just kind of like introducing these two guys. Okay, so he says, هذا صديقي هو مهندس. هذا we just mentioned is this, and صديقي is friend. Okay, so Sadiq is friend, and this ya means my friend. Okay, huwa muhandis. Huwa is he, and guessing from the other conversation we had, huwa mudarris and huwa muhandis, they sound very similar, right? And so if you were to use context clues, you can see that this is the profession of his friend, of Ahmad's friend. So a muhandis is an engineer. Okay, so a muhandis is an engineer. So that's a good word to keep in mind, since Muslims do like to be either doctors or engineers. So it's going to be a very common word there. So al-akh says ahlan wa sahlan. Who is al-akh? Al-akh is the brother, right? Hada akhi, this is the brother. And now here, or this is my brother, hada akhi, then al-akh is the brother. Okay? So the brother says, ahlan wa sahlan, nice to meet you. So Ahmad says, ma'as salama, and then Badr also says, ma'as salama. What is ma'as salama? So this is a common phrase that people say when they part from each other. Okay, so ma'as salama is similar to assalamu alaikum, right? Assalamu alaikum is kind of like a dua, like a prayer, right? Peace be upon you. Ma salama is like with peace. So ma here, the first word, mim ain, ma means with. Okay? So anything that's with anything else is ma. Okay? And then as-salama is safety, right? Or peace. So go with safety, basically. So this is also a kind of prayer, and then ma'a salama. So this is a common way people depart from each other in the Arabic language. So here we get to al-hiwaru sadis. Al-hiwaru sadis is the sixth conversation. Okay, so we did fifth, and now we do sixth. Unzur wastami' wa'id. Look, listen, and repeat. This is the same conversation between Nada and Huda, but this is in the feminine, as the pattern of this chapter is. So, Assalamu alaikum wa alaikum assalam. هذه أختي هي طبيبة. هذه أختي هي طبيبة. So, here we see هذه. هذه is the same as هذا, except it's the feminine. So this also falls into the family of pointers, but this is the feminine version of هذا. On the same note, أختي is the same as أخ, but this is feminine. So if أخ means brother, then أخت means sister. Okay, أختي, so this is my sister. Nada is saying this is my sister. هي طبيبة. Hiya is the feminine pronoun, the feminine version of huwa, and tabiba is a occupation. So tabiba means doctor, right? So tabib means a male doctor, and tabiba is a female doctor. Okay? So Huda says ahlan wa sahlan. So then Nada says هذه صديقتي هي طالبة. And it is kind of blurry over here, but I think it's legible. She says هذه is this, the feminine word, and صديقتي. صديقتي is, as you might recognize, the feminine version of صديق. صديق being friend, and صديقتي being a female friend, my female friend. So this is my friend. Here, طالبة. طالب is a student, right? So طالب actually, the root is actually the seeker, right? And so طالب is like a seeker of knowledge, someone who's seeking beneficial knowledge, right? So طالبة, but the correct translation here is a student, okay? So الأخت, the sister, says أهلا وسهلا, nice to meet you. Nada says مع السلامة, and then Huda says مع السلامة. So this is the end of the conversation here, and to be frank, this is all the content that will be covered in the first chapter. So these 3 conversations cover most of what chapter 1 wants to teach, okay? So it's not really 3 conversations, it's 6, but 2, like half of them are redundant, right? Because they're just explaining the feminine side. So here you can see going forward that there's a lot of revision. So if you have any doubts, any issues in terms of your memory, we're going to explain in the next chapter a couple things before we move on to the next chapter, okay? So in this next video, we're going to explain basically all of these headings, okay? What do they mean, and so how you can basically go through the exercises on your own. And there's one lesson here, right here. And this is the lesson of the numbers that we will be covering next time. This is new information, so we'll have to spend a little bit of time on that. So we'll do numbers, and then we'll see, inshallah, if it's one video or 2 where we'll cover the headings on the review section. So, but this is it, and then inshallah we'll learn some new vocabulary starting maybe 1 or 2 videos from now. So without further ado, Subhan rabbika rabbil izzati amma yasifun wa salamun ala al-mursaleen walhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. Jazakallah khair for watching. If you like the content, if you want to follow the series, please subscribe. It helps a lot. Subscribe, like, share, and assalamu alaikum.